Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Elevate Renatus team call. If you're just joining us, this is your host, Keely Austin. It looks like as of right now, we've got 50 participants on the line. Our goal is always 100. Call your team and make sure we don't have any ICMs left behind. Today, our trainer is Daine Clark. Before Renatus, Daine was working 2 jobs. One of them was at Apple, and he was working in the back. He was somewhat shy. And he was also a roofer. He was only a roofer because his dad was a roofer. And with fair skin and red hair, it wasn't really his cup of tea because you're in the sun all day. He was barely making ends meet. He started looking for other income opportunities. And after finding Renatus, he plugged into the Renatus system. He listened to his mentors. He applied Velocity Banking to pay down debt. And he used leverage for a down payment on a duplex. He lived in one side to rent out the other. Today, he's raised over $6 million from investors to lend on various real estate transactions, and his secret to do that was consistency and frequency. He's grown his team. He's become a President's Advisory Council in training. He's recognized by our CEO, Bob Snyder, as a key leader, and we're very, very fortunate to have him as our trainer today. Good morning, Daine.
Good morning. How are you doing?
I am wonderful. Thank you. How are you?
I'm doing great. Absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much for that introduction. Okay, let's, you know what? Actually, I haven't done this in a while. So I got my video on, so excited to be here with you guys. But quick question for everybody. If you guys figure out a way to come off of mute, or, I mean, even you can pull your video on if you guys want to, but come off of mute. I've got a question for you. So remember back to the very moment. So this is a really specific question. I'm asking for the moment, okay? Can anybody remember the very moment that you made your decision, that you're like, I'm buying this. I'm gonna buy Renatus, okay? So again, I'm not saying like I'm not asking for the story or things like that, because we gotta go through a lot of people. But does anybody remember that moment where you're like, I'm buying this? Were you sitting in one of the meetings, listening to a presenter? Were you sitting, in a house tour, listening to somebody talk about their deal? Where were you? And for the brave, and even those that this might be a little bit uncomfortable, please do come off of mute and just share with us that moment that you were like, I'm buying this. I'm buying this. Let's do this. Go ahead.
Daine?
Yeah. Charlon? Yes.
Yep. I'd say
all right, go ahead, Charlon.
Short story is when my 5 stars, after their meeting, it was like 10:30 at night, came to my house and sat down.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So you went to the presentation and they're like, hey, let's go to your house.
No. I thought it was a scam. And I didn't go to the presentation. And I made my final call. I was like, hey man, you've been calling me this long. Come show me this isn't a scam. And they both came to my house and broke it down. Yep.
And you were just like, all right, I'm doing this.
Yep. The next day I signed up.
Oh my gosh, that is awesome. That's absolutely awesome. Thank you for sharing. I had a couple other people come out. Let's see, it looks like I've got Rhonda and Ashley.
Mine was after the very first introduction meeting. I found it on Meetup. I went and I said, this is it.
This is it. So in that very first meeting, you were just like, yeah, I'm doing this. So both people so far have just told me that you didn't really see a ton. You were just like, you got introduced and you're like, I'm doing this. I'm doing this.
That's right. It was just amazing. I was just shocked. And I said, this is the one.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh, that's awesome. Absolutely awesome. All right, I've got Ashley is off of mute as well. Did you want to chime in?
Yeah. Hey, Daine. Mine was, I was sitting in my bed doing some college homework, and my friend texted me about, her little text that she sent me. And I was like, I want in. I don't know what you're doing, but I want in. because I trusted.
Oh my gosh.
I knew she wouldn't do
Yeah.
anything that was hindering herself, so I was like, I want in.
Yeah, that's awesome. So she didn't tell you that it was 20 grand yet?
No, I didn't know probably for a few months because we had to go through a few stuff, but
Uh-huh. Oh, that's awesome. So can you just for everybody else here, Ashley, could you share when you received the blow, like, oh, by the way, this is $20,000. Do you remember what your initial thought was?
I assumed that like I had to pay something because you don't get something like this for free by any means. But when I heard it was 20, I was like, hey, that's half of the college I'm doing right now. And I'm getting a heck of a lot more through it. So to me, it didn't seem like a huge blow, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. All right. Looks like I think Sherry has been waiting for just a second off of mute. Sherry, go ahead. And then Chuck, I'll go to you afterwards.
Okay.
Go ahead,
So
Sherry.
I remember the moment I think I wanted to buy the education at one point, but I didn't see that I had $20,000 for that investment because at that time I was going through a foreclosure. So I was like, I don't have any money. So I was in a follow-up with Kendall Stock, and we were talking about, well, what ways could you get the money? And one way was I had a mutual fund, a retirement that was a mutual fund. And we talked about how I could redirect that and then use that.
Oh, that's awesome. So basically he just showed you like, oh, here's how you could do this. Here's how you could get started. And you're just like, oh, well, that seems easy enough. I'll just do that. And you're like, I'm in. Oh, that's awesome. Absolutely awesome. Thank you for sharing. All right, Chuck, I've got you off of mute. Anybody else that's going to come on, just put yourself off of mute because I can see you guys coming off of mute. So and so I'll just kind of line it up. So go ahead, Chuck, and then whoever's going to come next, put yourself off of mute because I want to hear from you guys. So all right, Chuck, are you with me?
So it took me a little while. It took me like 6 months because I'd been burnt before, so it took a little bit of a while. And I didn't actually join it after I read a book called The Success Principles by Jack Canfield. And I started asking some questions, and then my mentor started showing me the earnings plan, and I'm like, okay, I'm in.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. So it took you a while because you'd been burned before. You're like, I don't know. This looks cool, but and then he started showing you like, oh, you can earn while you're learning. You can learn how to do real estate, and you're just like, okay, let's do it. Is that how it went down? All right, who else? Look, I've got, I'm not sure who this is, but so give us your name because you're on the phone.
Yeah. Hey, Daine, it's Jeff Wilson here in Salt Lake.
What's up, man?
Doing well, and yeah, I'm just on I-215. But mine was subconscious. My subconscious made the decision for me without even me realizing it. It was probably my fourth exposure at Kendall Stock's intensive 11 months ago for raising capital.
Ooh, good one.
So that was amazing to me, and I'm like, yeah, I mean, I had to figure out all the steps on getting the funding and everything, but now that I think about it, and now that you pose the question, it was at that intensive.
Nice. Where you're sitting there, you're in the class, there's all these people left and right, front, back, and you're just like, yep, doing this.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. I love hearing these stories because everybody's a little bit different. Let's go with maybe one more, and let's pick somebody that is maybe a little more shy, and you know who you are. So Jerry, I had Jerry just come off.
What's up, Daine? How you doing, man? You should know my face, right?
Yeah, what's up, brother?
Doing, man. Man, you guys are so phenomenal out there in Salt Lake, man. I just love the way y'all doing. Sorry, because I'm listening to Nancy, so let me cut her down. But
yeah, don't tell her I won't tell her you said that. I won't tell her you said that. I'm just teasing.
But I just really, yesterday Bill came on and he said something that really resonated with me. And what he said was, how to reinvent the wheel. Let's follow the steps of our leaders. And I really, really, that resonated with me. So my first on this call, I didn't even know that this call was available to us. So I just appreciate you guys coming on and sharing with us and helping us, because here in Detroit, we kind of building our market. And man, I can't wait to, have you guys come out, help us out, and do what we got going on. So thank you. Thanks, Dan.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Let's see. I think I saw somebody come off. Was it Jeremy? Did I see Jeremy come off and then
you did.
That was back on mute?
That was a miss.
Was that
button.
an accident, or did you want to share?
Yeah. Sorry about that, man.
All right. All right. Cool. So I'm not sure if I got the shy person yet. You know who you are. Somebody that's on the more shy side, come out and share with us the moment that you were like, I'm doing this. I'm doing this. You know who you are. Or do we not have any shy people on this call? Corey.
Yeah. Hi, Daine. I'm from the Scottsdale team.
How are you?
And for me, good. Thank you. I was actually at the intensive for Velocity Banking with Randall Cloud when I left at the end of the day, and I was like, this is it. And I immediately called my best friend, even before I called my husband.
Oh, wow. So you saw the intensive, you saw Randall, he's teaching Velocity Banking up there, and I've listened to Randall Cloud before. It was probably like a little bit like, I think this makes sense,
Exactly.
So it might have been a little bit fuzzy, and you're just like, but I'm doing this. I'm doing
Absolutely.
this. Oh, that's awesome. So are you my shy person?
I am not a shy person, not at all.
Oh, so we're still going to find our shy person then. Okay, so you know who you are. Chuck, are you shy?
Yeah. Actually,
right.
I've actually gone places and it's the end of the day and it's like you promise yourself you're gonna talk to one person. And I'll tell my mind you're not leaving here until you talk to one person. I've literally
dude, don't go to sleep. Don't go to sleep until you talk to that one person, right? Oh, cool. All right, so let me go ahead and share my screen here, and we're gonna pop over. Thank you guys that came off of mute there to share. Let me pop over to my mastermind call, and on my iPad it turns my video off whenever I bump over to this. So apologize on that, but I'm a pacer, so I'm gonna stand up and I'm gonna pace around the room anyway. So you'd just be staring at my nose. But so a couple of things that I really wanted to share today. I had a whole bunch of stuff just like flash across my mind. So, but I'm gonna try and keep it. Let's keep it in here. And I wanted to talk about. Oh man, there's so much. Okay, so I wanted to talk about in the beginning, as you are overcoming obstacles, because if I'm mistaken, I think a lot of us on this call are still in our infancy stage where we're just getting started. Like we're looking for that first success maybe, and so let me just make sure everybody's on mute here, getting some background noise. Okay, so looking for that first success. So for myself, I want to share just a little bit about how I started getting into those very first successes, and how even though on a scale, if you will, they started pretty small, and then they began to grow exponentially, and it's crazy It's crazy. So one of the mindsets that I had to have, because it was a good, let me think. It was a good like 18 months to maybe even 2 years. So if I draw a little timeline here, and I want to be careful by drawing this timeline, because for some people, I don't want this to slow you down. But on the other hand, I don't want to make you guys feel like you're a failure. Okay. So get rid of that. I just want to talk about my timeline so that you can focus on speeding up your own. Okay. So anyway, we got that off the stage. So in my first year, I still didn't make like gobs of, I actually still replaced my income in that first year. But in that first year, here's how it worked. And I'll talk about the second year and so on and so forth. But in that first year, the only way that I made any money was through the marketing opportunity in Renatus. So I had still, picked up and gotten involved in some deals, and I'm going to talk about that. But I didn't get paid actually. Because we sold those homes like right after my year mark. So in that first year, let me talk about this. I made money in marketing, and here's why. As I was getting started, a lot of you know my story, where my wife had our baby 3 months after I joined, and so I was like, I went to my 5-star because I was like, I told him, I said, dude, I'm not going to join your stupid real estate MLM. Like, when I found out that Renatus, in my opinion, it was an MLM. I know it's not an MLM. And they've got all these things to make it not an MLM. But in my mind, MLM, just because you could talk to friends and family and they could get involved. So anyway, I go to my 5-star as I'm 3 months in, still hadn't made any money yet. My wife's about to have a baby in like a week. And she had actually just quit her job, so that, because she's like, Daine, he's coming. Like, any mothers out there know, like, you just know. You're just like, oh my gosh, the baby's gonna come like anytime. So she quits her job, and I go to my 5-star and I say, dude, my wife just quit. She's gonna have the baby. I just joined 3 months ago, and I put this all on credit cards, 20 grand. I put it on credit cards. And dude, I need money like now, because my wife quit her job. And so he starts sharing with me the compensation plan or the earnings plan, excuse me. So he starts sharing with me the earnings plan and how I can become an independent contracted marketer for Renatus and make money. And it was crazy, because when I joined 3 months prior to that meeting or that conversation, I'm sitting there going, I don't want to join your stupid real estate MLM. And he talks me back into it, saying, oh, you don't have to sell anything. You don't have to talk to that friends and family. You don't have to do any of that. Just do real estate. And so I was like, okay, fine. So I joined Renatus. Anyway, fast forward. I'm telling him this. I need money, and he starts telling me about the earnings plan. And I remember in the back of my mind thinking, dude, no, not this. I told you that I didn't want to do this. But on the other side of the coin, I'm like, my wife's gonna have a baby in like, well, any day. I have no idea when. Any day she's gonna have a baby, and she has already quit her job. I'm the sole provider. I need this. So I kind of backed myself up against the wall. So here's where my mindset shifted. And so I kind of want to talk about the growth of even just the mindset. Okay. So my first mindset shifts in that 3 month mark, where I start telling myself, I'm going to start marketing because I need money. I need to pay my bills. Okay. And so, put this back on mute here. I need money. And so I get started, and Mitch tells me like, you can put some signs on the side of the road. You can get up in the middle of the night and from midnight to 1 to 2 a.m., you go put these signs out, and you can write on them with a marker and say, you know, something along the lines of looking to get into real estate, you know, call us, whatever. And so, so I accept. And I, you know, looking back in my mind, I'm like, I don't know how I you know, committed to do this, but anyway, so out of desperation, I say, I need money. So, you know, I want to get into deals, but I need money too. And so I shift to, okay, I will do whatever it takes. Okay, so that was the next thing. I need money, so I say, all right, I will do whatever it takes. To provide for my family, to put food on the table, pay my bills, and etc. Okay, so that mindset shifts. Whatever it takes. So I start getting up at 12, basically midnight. My wife had put our baby down to bed, but she puts him to bed in the car seat, and so we would put our baby in the car seat, in the back seat, and my wife would drive the car while the little baby's sleeping, and we'd drive around in the middle of the night and put these roadside signs up, and I would jump out and put them up and jump back in, and my wife would drive to the next, you know, whatever. Okay, so in Utah they don't like us to do this anymore, so other areas you can. But anyway, so I start doing that, and I get people starting to call me on these signs, So I'm getting calls, and I remember, oh my goodness, I remember those first few calls that people called. You know, I never answered the phone because I was, again, too scared, too shy. I never answered the phone. I would always call them back. And so I remember calling these first people back and just thinking in my mind, like, dude, I don't know. I don't know if this is going to work, because I'm shy, I'm scared. I haven't made any money in real estate yet. I haven't done anything. And so I find my mind just going back and forth, you know, watching people's success. And this is why in Renatus they say, if you haven't heard this yet, they say, if you are down on the emotion scale, if you're down on your excitement and motivation and whatever, then you need your fellow peers in Renatus. You need your other students. You need the meetings. You need to go to those meetings, right? If you're down. And so I would still go because I knew this concept. And so as I would go, I'd see other people's stories. I'd get ideas from other people, and I'd get excited, right? When you're up, this is when the meeting needs you, because you're bringing these people up. And if you're down, then they are bringing you up. Okay. But anyway, so I go to these meetings and I learn and see other people have some success, hear some stories, be like, you know what, maybe I can do this. So I go back and I'd call these missed calls, and I'd call these leads, and I'd have these conversations, and I'm pretty sure that most of the people on the other end of the line were like, yeah, you don't know what you're doing. Click, you know, hang up the phone. But I do it over and over and over again. And you know what? I would attribute to that first success, because this took me, let's see, because I started that process 3 months in when my wife had the baby, and then I did not become a 5-star until let's see, it was August. So let's see, January, February, March, April, May, June, August. So 5 months. Took me 5 months to become just 5-star. And if I remember right, that was like, oh my goodness. I counted it at one point. It was almost 100 people. It took me almost, let's call it 80. It took me 80 people that came down to meetings and saw it, and for whatever reason, I just could not close them. Even though I still had some support from the team and the group and my 5-star and all those things, I couldn't do it. But finally, I get these, I get a couple, it's actually in the same month, I get a couple of people that are just like, yeah, I want this. I want to do this. I'm game. And it's crazy. Those people are actually still involved, and have done some cool things just looking back on that. But anyway, so I get that 5-star, and it's crazy. My mindset was still in the trash can. And it was just because, so here's the concept that I want to talk about. In these first successes, as your brain is going back and forth, you can do this, and it's pulling you back saying, I don't know if you can do this. And so the only reason that I had success in that first year is because I just took action. I did not have skill. I'll be the first to tell you. Yeah, I'm watching classes, I'm learning and all these things, but I just took action. And eventually people, it's funny because looking back, like those people that joined, that was hard work for, to become those 2 people that joined that made me a 5-star and bought their combos. So back then that was work, but looking back now, I mean, those people like rolled over for me. They were looking for this. But anyway, so second year, I learned something from that first year. Just take action. But here's the crazy thing: the first time I call this credibility 0 moments. So in that first year, I have credibility 0. It's at least in my mind. Credibility equals 0. Yeah. Here's how this works in everybody's world. When you have that credibility 0, the only option you have is to just take action. Because at the end of the day, I mean, try to, as you try this, the worst thing that anybody could ever tell you is no. And that's actually my favorite word anymore. So I find myself, these years ago, taking words like no and saying, that's my favorite. And just like talking myself into that. My favorite word is no. Like I'm going to get people to tell me no. So there I am, taking action, trying to talk myself into that the word no is a good thing to hear. And my next favorite word, so my first favorite word is no. My next favorite word after no is next. And this is what I'm telling myself in these first, phases, if you will. And then you fast forward. I get paid on that first real estate deal. And that was right around that year mark when I actually got paid. And I remember the feeling. And it surprised me that the feeling didn't change. The feeling that I had as I was going through all of this, and I kept telling myself, oh man, when you get paid on the first one, it's all gonna be okay, and I'm just going, it didn't change. So it was not like an overnight feeling or overnight change of heart that now I feel successful. It's crazy. And so again, I learned something. Okay, so feeling does not come, feeling better about myself and my skills and what I'm capable of does not come before results do, or even after. So feeling better about myself does not come after results. So again, I learned something in that second year. I learned that. I feel like some of the biggest takeaways from my second year in Renatus. I still take action. I'm gonna have to make this bigger. So let's make this timeline huge. So first year, all I do is take action. My credibility is 0. And my favorite word that I start telling myself is no. If I just hear people tell me no, then I know I'm doing it right. And then my second favorite word to follow up no is next. So I just tell myself like, all right, next. You guys ever been to the DMV before? and you're sitting in the DMV, and there's all these people, and there's like sweaty ones, smell like dog, you know, whatever, all these people at the DMV, and you're sitting there, and you're watching, you know, the numbers, like, okay, you're looking at your number, you're looking at all the numbers on the screen, and then all the ladies or gentlemen behind the desk are talking to the people, and then they yell out, next! Like, that was what I had in my mind when I was thinking next. So every time somebody would tell me no, I'm thinking DMV, 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 next, you know, just next person. Yeah, so anyway, first year, and then I make that first dollar, but my mindset doesn't change yet. And so that second year, I'm like, okay, we're still gonna take action. No is still my favorite word. Follow up no comes next. You know, all the same stuff. But then I add that, okay, mindset changes on my terms, not results. So mindset changes. I've got some people off of mute. You guys trying to chime in, or do you want me to mute you? Melissa Kurtz. Okay.
Sorry about that.
So, no worries. Okay, so now I find myself telling myself, okay, mindset does not change after results. So, in other words, what's going to come first? Success or mindset? Like, do you change your mindset because you had success, or do you have success because you changed your mindset? So I learned this concept. Okay, I got to change the mindset first. And I run into this concept of what they call like declarations, positive self-talk. You guys ever heard of all this stuff? Declarations and mindset and positive self-talk and vision boards and all these things. So I get introduced to all these concepts, and I start just doing it, you know, and still to this day, you guys have probably heard me teach on vision boards now. To this day, I still have a vision board. To this day, I still have declarations sitting on my wall, in my office, in my bedroom. I like to have them in both because I want to see them wherever I am. Okay, so I start upgrading that mindset, and then that second year. So within that second year, I break my first six-figure year. Okay. So that first year, I think out of the marketing, I ended up making like 30 grand. So maybe a little more, like 37-ish, but let's call it 30 grand. Yeah, so work, just action. Mindset is in the garbage, you know, but lots and lots of action. No is my favorite word, all those things. And I changed the mindset the next year, and all of a sudden my income just, in my world, that was through the roof back then. And so over the course of that third year, now I feel like things are starting to pick up, right? It's crazy. So for you guys, wherever you are in this process, if you've made a little bit of money, if you're still making some money, but you're just like, how do I get past it? Or if you're just trying to get past the very first time you make $1 that enters your bank account because of your entrepreneurial action of talking to people and creating those relationships and connecting people to what they want most, whether it's deals, money, you name it. Renatus, all those things. Anyway, so now I start picking up that steam. So I've got my vision boards, I've got my declarations, I'm taking massive action, and I'm just developing skill like crazy in this third one. So I guess you could say I'm still developing skill all along the way, but now like that skill is developed in that third year that I can actually have a conversation where at the end of the conversation, people say, yes, like whatever it is that you're doing, I like it. Like, well, yes, let's do it. So after that, I start breaking into the multiple six-figure earning, and it's crazy because I feel like in my mind, I feel like things are getting easier this far down the line, where I'm about to come up on my 4-year mark in November this year, 4 years. But in all of this timeline for myself, so let's see, 1, 2, 3, I'm coming up on this 4-year mark here in a couple of months. In all of this timeline, I've noticed, and you'll notice this with yourself too, I never quit. I never quit. Even though I tried, I tried to talk myself into saying, you know what, this is just even in the 2nd year and the 3rd year, I had literally was arguing with myself. I had already made over 6 figures, and I'm sitting here telling myself that I think I want to quit. So again, mindset. The one thing, and I don't do this to establish any fear in anybody, but the one thing that you can do to help fast track for yourself is to just start. I mean, if you can't beat them, join them. Because here, all of us here, you know, in Renatus that have made any success, we're going to tell you, stay focused, but start telling yourself that you can do this. So if you can't beat us, then just join us. Start telling yourself positive things. Start telling yourself that you can do whatever you want. When you look in the mirror and you talk to yourself, because we all do it, right? I know it's not just me, but when you talk to yourself throughout the day, just get rid of all the things negative. Just get rid of them, right? They're not needed. So start just telling yourself that, dude, you can do whatever you want. It's crazy what happens when you talk yourself into that concept that you can do whatever you want. It does not matter. But I'm going to tell you right now, when you start telling yourself that stuff, where you start changing that mindset, put the vision board up, you know, declarations, all those things, and you start getting rid of that negative self-talk, dude, challenges are going to start coming. Because if you've thought like that for most of your life, that thought is not going to want to let go. It's crazy. Yeah. So if I, you know, I didn't actually want to, this is not where I wanted to go today, but you know, we went here anyway. Hopefully somebody needed to hear this. So get out of your mind all this negative crap. Okay. It's not needed. It's not needed in the world. You don't need it. They don't need it. Nobody needs it. Start telling yourself that you are the person that you want to be. Okay. And here's how somebody pitched it to me. Imagine yourself 10 years down the road and you've made all success that you could even imagine. And imagine that person that 10 years from today comes back in time and visits you and tells you how awesome it is to be successful. All right, imagine that. Imagine yourself 10 years from now coming back in time saying, dude, or dudette, guess what? It worked. Do not quit. Do not stop. Do not stop telling yourself whatever you're telling to yourself that's causing you to not progress. Okay. So takeaway from today, I hope it's this, that you're imagining yourself 10 years from now that's all successful self coming back and telling you the story from today, wherever that is, from today to success. And that person 10 years from now is telling you, oh my gosh, I mean, everybody can do this, right? If you go backwards and you throw back, you're like, oh my gosh, remember that moment that I decided I was joining Renatus. Like, I mean, it's always fun to throw back and do that, but do this on the forward. right? And that's even why I like that. I remember that. That's why I wanted to have everybody go off and share why they, you know, the moment that they decided, okay? So imagine yourself 10 years from now asking yourself, hey, that moment that you chose that you were going to be successful. Remember that? Remember that? And remember all the things that followed after that, right? So imagine yourself 10 years from now, looking backward. And the second thing, if you don't have declarations of who you are and not who you are maybe today, but who you are in 6 months and in a year, in 10 years, whatever, then dude, get them on your bathroom mirror, right? I don't care if you make a lot of money. I don't care if you think that's hokey pokey. It works. So get those declarations on, and maybe I'll actually share a couple of things on what I do next week. But get those declarations out and stop telling yourself that you can't. All right. If anything negative comes into your mind, just delete it. It's possible. Okay. And start putting into your mind positiveness. Start reading these books, all that kind of stuff. Okay. So anyway, that's what I've got for us today. Thank you all for that came off, that were shy, and that were and shared. Let's see. Let me make sure I got some comments here. Cool. Thank you all. I'll chat with you guys next week. Have a wonderful rest of your day.